Helldivers, the galaxy's last line of offense.
Helldivers 2 is a game that hasn't been on my radar for very long, and I didn't actually plan to make this review until last week, I think. But I watched some of the trailers, I thought that it looked cool, I got it on launch day, and I've been playing it for all of today. I'm going to show you some raw gameplay, I'm going to give you guys my first impressions review, but before I do that, you should hit that subscribe button. I talk about video games all the time on this page. I have a whole playlist dedicated to video game reviews, but I also talk about movies and I talk about TV shows. Later this week, I'm going to make a video giving you guys my thoughts on the Skull and Bones beta, and then I'm also going to review Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden as well. But anyway, let's talk about Helldivers. So first I'm going to talk about what Helldivers 2 is, and then I'm going to get into the pros and the cons. Helldivers 2 is a cooperative third-person shooter where you land on one of many different planets, and you and your squad, or you can do it solo, you complete objectives, and then you extract. The objectives are usually relatively simple tasks that you can complete in various different ways. Your average mission will play out something like this. First you land, and then you go to point A and you collect the missile codes, and then you go to point B and you launch the missile, and then you go to the extraction zone and you leave. On paper, it's incredibly simple, but it's the gameplay that elevates this game so much more than I ever anticipated. And I'm gonna shoot straight with you right off the bat. Depending on how much replayability this game ends up having and how well it's supported by the devs in the following years to come, this may end up being one of my all-time favorite cooperative shooters. Now let's get into the pros. Like I said, this game on paper is incredibly simple, but it's the gameplay that elevates it. And that's because the gameplay has so many different wildcard factors that make each mission feel wildly different from each other, even though most of them are relatively similar. For example, you can destroy objectives a number of different ways. You can just lob grenades at them until they blow up, or you can launch a missile strike on them. And you can tackle combat differently each mission as well. For example, you can just rely on your firearms, hunker down, and hope you don't run out of ammo as you slaughter tons and tons and tons of aliens and robots. But again, you can also call down missile strikes, you can place sentry turrets or minefields. And one thing that makes this game incredibly fun as well is that everything that can kill enemies can also kill you and kill your squad mates. You can get eviscerated by your own turrets, your missile strikes can take out your whole squad, your teammate with horrible accuracy can just lay you out right as you're about to extract. And the failing in this game is almost as fun as the succeeding, and sometimes honestly it's even better, because it's when you fail, it's when you die in hilarious and different ways that make the most memorable moments, at least for me. And for a $40 game, there is a decent amount of content at launch. I've played different missions on several different planets. There's snow planets, there's jungle planets, there's other planets. And there's two main different enemy types that I've come across so far. There's robots and there's aliens. And within those different enemy factions, they each have a decent amount of enemy variety as well. There's a variety of different guns and upgrades as well. And getting these upgrades is pretty much your main progression in this game. You level up, and the more that you level up, the more things you unlock. And you also earn money to actually buy those things once you unlock them. So for example, when you first start this game, you have like one standard missile strike. You can unlock a sentry turret. You can call down a special heavy machine gun that's way more powerful than your standard machine gun. And as you level up and progress, you unlock different and more powerful missile strikes. You unlock different weapons, you unlock different skills, you know, that sort of thing. But this game at launch feels like it's packed with a good amount of content, especially for its price point. I've paid $70 for AAA games that didn't have half as much content as this game seems to have so far. And now I'm going to get into the cons, and to be honest with you, I don't really have any cons so far. This game does what it's trying to do near perfectly, in my opinion. But the biggest red flag that this game has going for it so far is just the question marks. How much staying power is this game going to have? How well is it going to be supported post-launch? Like I said, there's already a variety of missions and locations to satisfy me for a week, a couple weeks, maybe even a month. But again, I just hope it's supported with new content, because this game, at best, again, has the potential to be one of the greatest modern co-op shooters. I genuinely believe that. But it could also end up just being a fun couple weeks, and in those couple weeks, you'll have a lot of fun. You'll make a lot of good memories, and you'll look back on these couple weeks very, very fondly. But again, depending on how much this game is supported, you may never want to come back to this game. And another thing that's worth mentioning, I'm sure they'll fix this, I'm sure they'll patch it probably before the day's up, but the servers absolutely suck right now. Like I said, you can play this game solo, and it is fun solo, but once you actually play with other people, the game opens up so much more. It's so much more fun to play with people. But my whole experience, I was trying to matchmake over and over and over and over again, and it failed 95% of the time. But the other 5%, I found a game, and when I did, it was really, really fun. Now, depending on when you're watching this review, if you're watching it on launch day, you'll probably run into these issues as well. But if you watch this video tomorrow, the next day, next week, I'm pretty sure that this problem will be solved. Anyway, that's my first impressions on Helldivers 2. I'm really, really liking this game. I know I'm gonna put a lot of hours into this game in the coming weeks, and depending on how this video performs and depending on how much I continue to like this game, I will absolutely make a follow-up video. So consider subscribing if you're interested in that, and thank you for watching, especially if you watched this far.
20 seconds. Reinforcing. Last reload. T-minus 10 seconds. Request approved. Reinforcements have been launched. Last reload. This is Pelican 1. I have visual on the extraction zone. This is Pelican 1. Preparing for touchdown. Throwing supply beacon! Calling in reinforcements!